This is a great honor for every fan of the Dallas Cowboys. I'm honored to be in the NFL.
What can I say? Mamba out.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to ESN and Gonzo's Sports Room. And we've got a big show for you today, the afternoon show. Hopefully everybody's had a good weekend. I know me and Chris had a pretty good weekend, but not with the Colts, but we did with IU. Kind of bad for the Colts. Let's jump into some college football, guys. Thought we'd go over a couple games real quick and then talk about the rankings and the playoff bracket. The first game I wanted to talk about, of course, was IU and Ohio State. That was the big one, number 1 versus 2. What'd you guys think about that game and how it went? And Chris, let's go to you first.
That was a great game, fun game to watch. I know there wasn't a lot of scoring. A lot of times you get low scoring games. People, oh, this is a crap game. They're just because there ain't no points scored, but that wasn't the case. This was a low scoring game that had a lot of action in it. Great game to watch. Of course, I was happy about it because the Hoosiers was on top. But to me, the key of the game was the line of scrimmage. IU was able to pretty much dominate the line of scrimmage in that game. We had 5 or 6 sacks against Ohio State, who only gave up 5 sacks all year. We had that in one game, and then they only had, I think, 2 or 3 sacks on our quarterback. So we were real physical at the line of scrimmage, and we was able to pull out the victory.
Yeah, I agree. We looked pretty dominant up at the line. Ohio State's a very good team, though. But I'm very happy that we played well. I'm glad that we won, of course. But even if we wouldn't win that game, I'm confident that we can play with the teams that's in the tournament. Something that we couldn't do last year.
What I liked about it, we didn't win like on a fluke play or a fluke play or whatever. We got that lead early in the second half, and we was able to keep the lead. Yep. And I think it came down. Not that it came down to it, but I do think that it affected Ohio State a little bit. What I was saying last week, they hadn't been in no games where they had been tested and had trailed late in the game and had went through that. They hadn't been through that this year. Not this team. I know they won the national champion last year. So that team went through that stuff, but not this team. This team's closest game was Texas at the beginning of the year, 14-7. But I don't think they trailed in that game.
No, they didn't. And it was 14-9.
This game was the first time they trailed in the second half all year.
Yeah.
And IU had. So I think that helped a little bit. But the CIU, they stayed pretty composed on the sideline. But the physicality is what I really like, especially after the first play of the game, where it looked like we might have lost our damn quarterback. He got killed that first play of the game, but missed the play, got back up, and came in, and I believe won himself the Heisman.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Jay, your takes on that game?
Yeah, I mean, like Chris said, man, there was a lot of action going on, and you can't just look at the score. I mean, you look at that game. This is a game of defenses, and it was a game of who can make the most field goals. Straight up. When I look at this game, if you look at the time of possession, if you look at all the stats, the one stat that I will say IU held over Ohio was the rushing. I mean, they ran the ball incredibly well. For me, the 2 pivotal points for me was one and again, this is a testament to your defense, Chris, when it was 4th and goal for Ohio, and I'm saying to myself, don't go for it. I know it's tempting. I know you're in the red zone. And I know this is like, how many times do I got to get to the red zone? I got to go for it. That Campbell mentality from Detroit. I get it. But sometimes you got to say to yourself, damn, man, maybe let me just take these 3 points and we'll live to fight another day. Because the 4th goal, I don't know, man. They don't go for the field goal. They go for the fourth and 4th and 1, something like that. And I think it's just short of the goal line. And they lose out in October. Of course, Indiana takes over on downs. So that's one opportunity that they could have had to put 3 points on the board. Second opportunity they had, obviously, was at the very end of the game when they did put the damn field goal kicker in, this dude can't even make a 30-something chip shot field goal that typically is an extra point attempt in the NFL. So, those were two pivotal points. If Ryan Day, if he could have converted that field goal, this game goes into overtime. If he does go to the field goal kicker misses it, they lose the game by 3. There was opportunities for Ohio to win by 3, tie it, or lose by 3. And obviously, ultimately, they lost it by 3. I'm not taking anything away from Indiana. They proved they're a better team. Can't take that away from them. Can't say they weren't tested, because they were tested, and they came away with the better end. So, Signetti, Mendoza. By the way, Mendoza, when he got cracked that first play, I didn't think he was going to get up off the ground. The fact that he did shows me that Mendoza's got a little toughness to him. Must be channeling that Endo Gonzo in him. And so I'm getting the hell up, and we're going to play some more, damn it. Good game. Overall, good game.
And to your point, too, Jay, IU missed a field goal as well. So we get it. We could have had 3 more points in the first half. We missed that field goal. It could have been 10-9 at halftime instead of 10-6. So, both teams had a miscue on the field goal. Our field goal, I think, was a 42-yard field goal we missed. The only reason I feel like it's worse. The only reason I feel like it's worse for Ohio than Indiana is just because you had 2 opportunities. Oh yeah. One, you don't go for it. The other one, when you do go for it, I mean, it just wasn't there for them. At the end of the day, it was a game of field goals. It was a game of defense, and Indiana took it, and Ohio didn't. Take that, Ryan Day, you fuck.
Logan, your take on this?
Well, I mean, coming into this game, everyone was, imagining the 2 Heisman candidates we're going to probably see and Mendoza square off. And I mean, they've had pretty much, for the most part, aside from a couple of yards, pretty similar games, numbers wise. Each had a touchdown, each had a pick. Obviously, Mendoza coming up after getting just shell-shocked that first play shows his gut. But like you guys mentioned earlier, I think the main factor as to why Ohio State was the line of scrimmage and was the running game, as you were able to get a little bit. And like I said, it's not like it was a lot. It was just a little bit more than what Ohio State got on their offensive side. Defense, like I said, it was a very give and take type of game. It was like, it's like, oh, okay, we'll get 3 and outs, and then you get 3 and outs. Back and forth. That's what we thought. And it was a great game all around. Like I said, low scoring, but there was a lot of really talented players. A lot of guys we're going to be seeing get drafted here very, very soon. And this was a good showcase for a lot of these guys. And ultimately, like you said, for Ohio State, we never really talk much about special teams on the show. We always talk about the offense, defensive superstars, but we can't forget the special teams. It's the punters, it's the kickers, and it's those crucial field goals, extra points. And boy, if they are missed, then they are just a red flag. And for Ohio State, just a couple of missed opportunities. Like I said, if they would have hit those, if they would have tied it up, who knows how it would have went in OT. But Indiana was the better team in a heavyweight brawl, and now we got both teams 1 and 2, and now they flipped. Indiana's number 1, and I know you guys are happy as hell to see that.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
One other thing real quick, Dad. Another thing that was impressive to me was IU was missing their second best receiver. He went out, 2 plays into the game, Omar Cooper Jr.
That's true.
So, I mean, that was a big weapon on the offensive side for us not to have that game. And I got one other question. I'll move on. Who's the Big Ten champions?
That's the Hoosiers.
Say it one time, Jay. You got to say it one time. Come on. Hoosiers. Come on.
All right. Indiana's the Big Ten champions.
All right, guys. Let's talk about another game. I watched all this one. Georgia and Alabama. Just dominance, guys. Georgia just dominated the line of scrimmage. 297 total yards of offense, 156 passing, 141 yards rushing. Had the ball for almost 37 minutes. Alabama had -3 rushing. -3 rushing. That's unbelievable. I mean, we're talking about Alabama. So, Logan, your take on this game?
Hey, whatever Kirby Smart said to the boys going into this game, God, they responded. He said, "I'm tired of all this talk of I can't beat Bama, of that they're better than us." I mean, they were on a mission. They were at home. They were in Atlanta. They were at Mercedes-Benz where the Falcons play. Also, fun fact, the Bulldogs have had more wins in Mercedes-Benz this year than the Falcons in 2 weeks. So just a little fun tidbit there. Georgia just dominated. I mean, this wasn't really even close. Alabama couldn't get anything on offense. Like I said, -3 rushing yards. And yes, I understand they did have one of their running backs hurt, but I mean, hell, if he was healthy, it probably would have been 15 yards, if that. So the line of scrimmage, like you said, for Georgia, I mean, hell, look at Philadelphia. That's half the Georgia roster from years back. And they've always had monsters up there at the line. Gunnar Stockton put up that was probably the best game I've seen him play. I mean, 20-26, kept it clean, 3 touchdowns. He looked great. They run a very balanced running attack with Stockton, with Frazier, and they have, like I said, just swarming defense that they are right up on you. They'll hit you. They'll put pressure, and they look great. I mean, like I said, I know it wasn't a super high-scoring game, and they look phenomenal in that one. They look good. For Bama, boy, there's a lot of questions that we haven't talked about here lately because they've been on a good roll. But, boy, you really, now that we're going into the playoffs, you saw against, like I said, some good competition for the championship in the SEC. I mean, I don't think they have a chance to play each other until the finals if they ever do get that far. But it's if you're Bama, and I know if you're Frankie and if you're anyone else who follows Alabama, you're scratching your head and wondering just what the hell went wrong and what can we do to fix this? Because that was just an ass kicking. There was really no other way to shape about it. And also, Jay, I think we'll go this year too. All right, guys, who's the SEC champ? Come on. Let's go, Dogs.
Bulldogs.
That's it.
Okay,
That's
Jay.
it.
Jay, your take on this game?
Yeah, you know what the G stands for in Georgia? Can't say it on television.
You mean great, just like Tony the Tiger.
Yeah, you're right. It's exactly what I was thinking. Great. 7 was clearly the number for Georgia. They scored a touchdown every single damn quarter. Bama decided to get in on the fun at the fourth quarter. Just wasn't enough. -3 yards. 28 negative comes from Ty Simpson alone. They ran the ball 16 times, and a couple of times they were lucky. The rest of the time they weren't so lucky. And Georgia defense, I said it when Georgia played Texas. I felt like that defense was incredible. And Georgia has a damn good defense. And Kirby Smart is a smart son of a bitch when it comes to play calling. I said it when Texas played them, and I'll say it again, man. Georgia is a damn tough team. And, at this point, I've almost got to think that, obviously at some point, maybe we get an Indiana, Ohio, maybe rematch. No, I guess you wouldn't get – well, yeah, you could if it was a title game, I guess.
Yeah.
Because they're on 2 different ends of the bracket, right?
Yep.
So I don't know if we would see them unless it was a title game itself, which could happen. I just think Georgia, man. Jeez, man. That's a tough team. If I had to say right now who I believe in the most, nothing against Indiana again, but that Georgia team, man. Kirby Smart, I still feel like this is their year now, based on what I've seen so far.
Could be. Chris, your take.
Yeah, Georgia dominated Alabama, but I did hear yesterday. I was doing some research on the college football playoffs because I know we're going to talk about that. I was doing some research on that last night. Some of the teams getting in and not getting in. Alabama had 10 guys that did not play in that game. 10 guys that are contributors and usually starters that did not play in that game against Georgia on Saturday.
Damn.
10? Yes, they had 10 guys. Not all of them wasn't starters, but they were guys that do play and contribute.
Right.
But some of them were starters. They had 10 guys that didn't play because of some little injuries, and they were basically under the impression or told that they were 97%, pretty much 97% guaranteed to get into the college football playoffs, even no matter what happened in that game. So some of them guys sit out to get healthy for next game. So we'll see if that had anything to do with it. Not taking nothing away from Georgia, because Georgia's a hell of a team. Dad known that. I've been saying that all year. Alabama did beat Georgia once earlier in the year at Georgia. Yep. So we've seen Georgia be beatable. But yeah, Georgia's defense put on a hell of a performance on Saturday. And I'm looking forward to maybe getting to see Georgia and Ohio State in that semifinals of the college football playoff. I
think Alabama beating Georgia earlier in the year is what kept Alabama in the playoffs. If they don't get that win, they're not.
Oh yeah,
that's
sure.
That's what saved them.
Yeah, it did. Well, guys, let's talk about the playoffs. Of course, number 1 seed for the tournament is IU. Number 2 is Ohio State. 3 is Georgia. 4 is Texas Tech. Let's look at some of the other brackets. The number 1 team, IU, would play the winner of Oklahoma and Alabama. That's a rematch. Oklahoma beat Alabama earlier in the year, so Alabama's going up against another really strong defense. You've got number 2 seed Ohio State would play the winner of Miami and Texas A&M. I think that'll be a real good game. Number 3 seed Georgia would play the winner of Tulane and Ole Miss, and number 4 seed Texas Tech plays the winner of James Madison and Oregon. Logan, your take on the playoff bracket? Anything upset you about teams didn't get in, teams that should have got in, teams that shouldn't have made it? Your take on the bracket and the draw?
Yeah, what really kind of screwed the whole bracket up was Duke winning the ACC championship. I mean, because that had a lot of repercussions for a lot of teams. It's odd seeing the Miami, who didn't even play in the championship game, in here. That's always just for me a little bit weird. I mean, guys, I'll pose a question to y'all here once I'm done, but it's always weird having kind of the what is it, the bottom 5 or whatever, the James Madison and Tulane's. I mean, do they even have a shot? We're levels to this now in terms of NIL and everything. And look, hey, shout out to both those programs. They earned this spot. They played hell football all good all year. But I mean, hell, even imagine if Tulane upsets Ole Miss to kick it off. And boy, what a sour note for the Rebels to end the year with Lane Kiffin leaving, and then they get beat by the Green Wave. I expect, obviously, I think Oregon should just beat up on James Madison pretty single-handedly. I don't see much of an issue there. I'm looking that Texas Tech Oregon matchup. That's going to be a brawl there. We know how good. I mean, I watched the Texas Tech game when they won the Big 12. We talk about Georgia's defense, which is great. Texas Tech, they have, I think, like 29, maybe 30-something turnovers the whole season. I mean, they are the definition of physical. If they're healthy, they have a good shot to win the whole thing. They face good opponents, and they pretty much dominate except for one loss earlier in the year. Rest of the bracket, Alabama, Oklahoma. I can see that kind of being a toss-up. If Alabama's healthy, they have a good shot to win, like Chris had mentioned. But Oklahoma's got a damn good football team too. Now, we talked about it for years now. If their offense is good, but the defense needs to catch up. Well, the defense is finally caught up. They have a complete team now, and that one's. I mean, I don't really that Alabama. You can see here, 1.5 favorite. So very, very close matchup there facing IU. I think Miami and Texas A&M. I'm kind of leaning towards the Aggies on this one. I think Miami's got a good program. But I'm also in a way, I would love to see, I think Miami and Ohio State would be a good matchup just for rivalry's sake, for years past, obviously. And, for A&M, I think that they would be a good matchup for Ohio State as well. So, I mean, there's obviously 2 outliers in the Tulane and James Madison. But, I mean, the other, 10 teams we got in here, there's a good shot that any of these have a really good chance to win it. Obviously, top 4 are going to be favored. They might be favored because we've seen in years past, teams that get that bye, they don't look good. They lose. They can get upset. And that could be a big factor for any of these 4 teams. You hope it doesn't, but that's always something you got to look at. But for the bracket, I know Notre Dame, that was a hot topic about how them not getting in. And I think the main reason, and I think we can all agree on this, I think College Football Playoff Committee are kind of in a way getting at Notre Dame saying, look, y'all got to get into a conference here because this is getting absurd at this point. And y'all gotta go up against some better competition. Y'all gotta go, get some championship games maybe. And that's why they left out Marcus Freeman and company. I know they've already said that they're not even going to play in another bowl game. They've already basically, getting ready for 26. And I know BYU was also a team that people thought might have a chance to get in because their only 2 losses came to Texas Tech, who, as we know, won the Big 12. So they had a fair shot at, kind of a fair criticism as well about why they should get in. That's not like Vanderbilt. Diego Paz tweeted the president saying, "Hey, let us in or expand the playoffs." just trying for anything to get in there. But I feel like, for the most part, one thing I would change, this is just seeding wise, I would have maybe put Miami ahead of Alabama only because 3 losses for Bama and Miami, obviously just record-wise. But we know that they really factor strength of schedule into this, and that's also why Notre Dame didn't make it in. So I feel like they got the teams right. Maybe could have switched the order up just a smidge, but it's going to be – I think that we have a good group of 12 here. And I think that we have some good ball games ahead once this kicks off here on the 19th.
Yeah, I agree with you, Logan, for the most part. I think the criticism Notre Dame's got, and I agree with them on this, is the fact that you had them ahead of Miami all the way, every power ranking.
Yeah,
until
everyone.
the last one. And they didn't play another game. So how do you do that? So I think Notre Dame's got a legitimate gripe there. I mean, I'm not saying Notre Dame deserves to be anymore. I'm not saying that, but why wasn't Miami rated above? I mean, head-to-head wise, why wasn't they rated ahead of them before? Because it was nothing changed. They beat them head to head 2 or 3 weeks ago when the rankings came out. 4 weeks ago when the rankings came out, it was the same. So I understand Notre Dame's point of view on that. I think BYU strength of schedule hurts them a little bit, but again, you don't criticize Alabama for getting beat pretty bad in the game, conference game, but it hurt them because that was their second loss. So if you don't count that conference game, then they've only got 1 loss, and they may deserve to be into the playoffs. So it's kind of a mixed message. And I did see a guy that on TV last night, one of the analysts, and I thought he had a good idea. I don't think any of these teams like James Madison or Tulane, unless they should not be eligible to get in unless you're a top 15 team. I don't think you should have a 21 and a 25 or 24 in the playoffs. If you're undefeated and you're up in the top 15, or you've strengthened your schedule and maybe you got 1 or 2 losses, but you're still a top 15 team, and then I think you deserve to be in. But otherwise, I don't think that James Madison or Tulane deserves to be in over Texas or Notre Dame or BYU and other teams. But that's the way it is right now. So hopefully that's something that they can change, or do some playing games, or go to 16 teams or something. But I do think some changes need to be made. Jay, your point of view.
Yeah, I never liked it when you let honorable mentions get into playoffs. I think honorable mentions should be exactly where they are, honorable mentions. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of that either. Me personally, I kind of like what Pags was saying. Just go to a damn 24-team format. Give the first 10 or 12, whatever teams a bye. Let the bottom 12 figure it out, and then let's go from there. Nobody has to bitch, right? Take the voting out of it. Take the people's thought processes out of it. 24-team tournament. Let's go. And just let it be done. Let whatever happen. And I'm sure there's a format they can figure that out. So obviously certain teams will have buys, but there's a way they can figure that format out. Regardless of that, though, no matter what, Alabama got their asses killed by Georgia. Straight up. Got their asses killed by Georgia. I don't think Alabama should be in there, but you can't compromise. You can't. What's the word? You can't penalize a team for being in a conference championship game. So I get why Alabama is still there. I understand why they're still there. I do think that Oklahoma, who beat them back on November 15th by 2 points, I think Oklahoma could take out Alabama. Alabama may not even make it past Oklahoma, to be honest with you. In terms of Georgia, I mean, I just think this is their year. Like, this is their year. I think Indiana, I think it's their year too. I think those are 2 teams that are on a course for destiny.
One thing could be a big key for the Alabama-Oklahoma game. That's at Oklahoma, so it is a home game for Oklahoma, and that could make a difference. Chris, your take?
There's a few things I think they need to change. I think they got the bracket pretty much right, other than I wouldn't have Miami at 10. I think where the committee screwed up was 2 weeks ago, they put Alabama ahead of Notre Dame for no reason. After Notre Dame's been ahead of Alabama the whole time, they both won their games. Alabama played Auburn, which you could say is a little bit better opponent than what Notre Dame played, but they both won in dominant fashion. So how you jump them when you haven't jumped them all year? And then the next week, you have them the same, and then this week, all of a sudden, Miami jumps Notre Dame. It just don't make no sense. How do Notre Dame drop 2 spots, or actually 3 spots? There were 2 spots from 10 to 12 without ever playing a game, and Miami jumps BYU and Notre Dame without ever playing a game. That just don't make no sense to me. But
Yeah,
one of the big problems is the ACC. ACC screwed this all up with their stupid ass tiebreaker for their national championship game, where you got a team with 5 losses in a national championship game instead of Miami playing Virginia, not national championship, excuse me, conference championship. Instead of having Miami and Virginia, and then if Miami wins that game, Miami's automatically in, and then you only have one group of 5 team in like you're supposed to. But these stupid rules that they have, the language is when the ACC, when Duke won, it's the next highest ranked power group of 5 school that gets in. So the committee had their hands strung there. They had to put in another group of 5 team. That's how James Madison got in.
Yeah.
Personally, I thought Notre Dame should have been in. But to me, if Notre Dame, Miami, they're real close. You could have flopped in one. Cared. But I mean, it's crazy because we're getting ready to see Tulane in a rematch against Ole Miss. Ole Miss beat them 45-10 in the regular season, and now we're going to have to see that game again in the college football playoffs first round. Like you're basically giving Ole Miss a free ticket to the quarterfinals.
Yeah.
So they got to figure that out. I agree. I heard a guy. It was actually Todd McShay that said, I don't know who you had heard, Dad, but you were talking about. But he had said basically the same thing. Like a group of 5 teams. The group of 5 teams shouldn't get in unless their season was something special, like Boise State last year, the year before, where they beat Oregon. They had a win against a P4 team.
Mm-hmm.
These teams don't have a win against a Power 4 team, so they shouldn't be in. Because honestly, if I was doing the bracket, Tulane wouldn't have been in, and JMU, and you would have had Miami. Miami would have been my 11th team, and Texas would have been my 12th team.
So BYU,
it would have been more competitive that way. That's for sure.
You can make an argument for BYU right there, but I personally, I think Texas is a better team than BYU, and they played the harder schedule.
Well, I agree. They're a better team, but just it's tough because this is the first time in a while where a 3-loss team got in, and Texas was a 3-loss team, and also Alabama was a 3-loss team.
See,
like I said, what saved Alabama was that they beat Georgia. If they hadn't beat Georgia and lost 3 losses, they would not be in right now.
Yeah, I think if BYU would have been 10th, would have been 9 or 10 before the conference championship games, instead of 11th, they were already on the outside looking in. If they'd have been at 9 or 10 before that, I think they would have got in because they wouldn't have moved them down, just like they didn't move Alabama down for losing the conference championship. But BYU was never in that top 10. You know what I mean? They were already on the outside looking in. The only team they really moved down, well, besides they moved BYU down 1, but other than that, they moved Ohio State down 1. But they didn't have a choice to do that, but to do that because they lost in. I mean, you lost the number 2 team, so they can't leave you at number 1.
What would have happened if BYU would have beat Texas Tech? BYU's in, Texas Tech's in. Who would have been out? Miami?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think it would have had to be Miami. I think because then Texas Tech would have had 1 loss. No, they would have had 2 losses. But then also you could argue.
I think Miami would have been the team left out because I think they were the last team in.
Yeah, well, I mean, because let's hypothetically, if Texas Tech would have lost, because they also lost to Arizona State earlier in the year in an upset. But like I said, if they would have lost to BYU, that would have made things different. But they also just kicked the crap out of BYU in the championship game. So
Texas Tech would have lost. They would have dropped out of the top 4, but they would have still been in. They'd have probably. I would say they probably moved to probably 5 or 6, and then BYU would have probably been there around 9 or 10, probably around 10.
You know, one thing about the Ole Miss thing, though, now that Lane Kiffin's gone, he took half of his damn staff with him. What kind of position does that put Ole Miss in? I think they probably get past the first round, but you got to imagine that puts them in a really bad place going into the second round.
I think that what helps them is they're all the guy that called the plays, the offensive coordinator, he came back. So they're going to have the same offensive coordinator they had all year, and the guy that's the head coach now was the defensive coordinator all year. So there's still a lot of familiarity there. But yeah, what was it, Charlie Weiss Jr.?
Yes.
He left to go to LSU with Lane Kiffin, but they let him come back to coach for the playoffs, and he's going back to LSU. So
which is just such a
I think that's the reason. I think that's one of the reasons why Ole Miss stayed at 6 and didn't drop to like 7, and they moved A&M up was Weiss Jr. coming back, and there was still some familiarity there. Where if it had been a totally new person running the offense and stuff, I think they might have dinged Ole Miss a little bit for that.
And it's something else on Notre Dame, and I don't know if this is true or not, but I heard like the story next year, if Notre Dame stays in the top 15 going forward, that they will be in the playoffs. They just have to be in the top 15. Is that true? Have y'all heard anything about that?
I don't know. I don't know where you heard that.
Why would that be? They were in the top 15 this year.
It's only
They was
12
in the top 15 this year. Didn't make it.
Yeah,
right.
Unless they start expanding, but I mean, hell,
Yeah.
I mean, I know you mentioned earlier, Jay, hypothetical. Let's just do 24 teams. Well, hell, why not have more? I mean, we start off at 4, just gonna keep growing and growing. Which I mean, I don't think if you have that, I mean, 12's already. I think 12 is a pretty good number. I felt like maybe 8 would have been tight, but I don't think we need to do more than 12. Damn, we just got here.
The only thing you could do 16, and you're not adding any extra weeks. So you could do
16. Yeah, if you do 16, you could also have the 2 other, that group of 5 conferences like the Tulane. You could have those guys in there still as well, because I know obviously you want to include them. Because I mean, I know they don't get nearly enough, coverage, and they don't have the star power, but they are still a part of the NCAA. They need to be included. But if you expand it to 16. That's still 4 extra teams. You can bring the group of 5 conferences in, and it would be a little bit better. But I mean, hell, people are still going to complain about it at the end of the day. There's no question.
Real quick.
There's no question.
So just for future seasons regarding Notre Dame, that's what I found. So starting in the next season, likely 2026, based on provided search results and dates, Notre Dame will be assured of making the college football playoffs if it is ranked in the top 12 of the final rankings. The agreement was established as part of the memorandum signed by college football playoff officials. That's what they pulled out of it.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
So I don't know. That should be interesting. I guess we'll find out more about that come next year in terms of how that affects Notre Dame. But yeah,
and there was not just Notre Dame, which I know Dame was pissed off and stuff, but they gave some reasons, and for different things, some players and stuff wasn't going to play and things. But there's like 6 or 7 teams that are not playing. I've already turned down college games because I seen a team that was 5-7 is now going to a bowl game because
I know 2 Big 12 teams already said they're not playing.
Yeah, there's 7.
Hey, remember it used to be players just not playing in these bowl games. Now it's teams. Yep. So the NCAA they got to fix something because this is hurting the sport.
Yeah, I agree. Hey guys, let's jump over. Okay, go ahead.
The thing Jay's talking about with Notre Dame, last year it was in 2024. They were getting the teams signed to their agreements for the college football playoffs for this year and in 2026, and not the 9 of them had signed. So this was done back in 2024. So this was done before they got left out this year. But there is, starting in 2026, there is a rule where if Notre Dame is in the top 12, they're guaranteed. If they're ranked 12th or lower, they're guaranteed a spot in the college football playoffs. They can't be left out. But they cannot have a top 4 seed, and they get since they're not in the conference, they're not eligible to get a top 4 seed. No matter if they're ranked number 1 in the country. They can't get a top 4 seed because they're not in the conference.
Yep.
And they don't get a bye or a home playoff game.
My whole thing is what is the holdup to why they're not I know they've been saying this forever.
Money.
They just make money being an independent? Is that all it is?
They don't
have to split all the money with the conference.
TV deal.
But what is it about college football though? What is it about Notre Dame that college football feels like it needs to give this type of ruling to them and not any other school out there around? Like, why are they allowed to have this?
They're a global brand.
Yeah,
I
get you.
I'm just telling you. That's
I agree. No, I agree. No,
I don't agree with it, but that's what it is. They're global. Like everybody knows.
Yeah.
I don't know, but they're because they're making it like they're going to make a rule about the group of 5 as well, where you have to have at least a certain record or beat a Power 4 team or something to get in. Because there's no reason that we should have 2 group of 5 teams in. Like,
not with this format.
That's my biggest problem. Is you take them 2 teams. If you take them 2 teams out, you could get the 12 best teams in, and you don't have a problem. But putting them 2 teams in,
even if you just keep here, how about this? You keep 1. from the group of 5, right? You keep whoever has the best record, whatever the hell it may be, and you bring them in, and then as opposed to 2, because I feel if both of them don't get slaughtered in the first round, I'm gonna be surprised. If they win, I'll shave my head or something. I don't know, but
If the ACC would fix their stupid rules, this wouldn't have happened. There would only been the one group of 5 team, and you would have had an ACC team in, but not like they're supposed to be, because it's supposed to be your 5 conference champions. But ACC didn't have a conference champion that could be in because of a stupid rule that kept Miami out of it. And Virginia messes up and loses to Duke, and
if Duke wouldn't have won that game, then James Madison wouldn't have been in.
No, Virginia would have been in.
Yep.
So in other words, the ACC and Miami screwed Notre Dame twice.
Yeah. When you look at it that way, yeah, they did.
Yeah, kind of. Well, guys, let's jump into some NFL. I'm gonna give the scores real quick, and then you guys can go over some games, because I'm gonna have to get out of here and pick up a grandson. But first of all, we had Tennessee defeating Cleveland 31-29. A lot of fans going crazy because of that last play call in that Cleveland game to try to tie it up. Seattle all over Atlanta 37-9. Jacksonville all over the Colts 36-19. Minnesota 31-0 over Washington. I don't know what happened there. Buffalo 39-34 over Cincinnati. Cincinnati blows another one. New Orleans upset Tampa Bay 24-20. Pittsburgh 27, Baltimore 22, Miami 34-10 over the Jets, Denver 24-17 over Vegas. Some controversy on that. Vegas kicking that field goal, and some bettors are upset. The Rams all over Arizona 45-17, Green Bay 28, Chicago 21, and Houston maybe putting the end of Kansas City's playoffs hope. Houston 20 and Kansas City 10. So I'll let you guys take it from here, guys, and I will see you guys tomorrow.
All right, Tony, take it easy, man. I'll start here because I feel like this is what I hear the most chatter about, and it's the Browns, and it's that 2-point conversion. What in the hell were they thinking? And look, I am not saying, oh, well, Shadur Sanders is getting screwed, blah, blah, blah. That's just dumb play calling. Yeah. I mean, look, is just stupid play calling. You take out your starting quarterback on a crucial 2-point conversion, and the play sucked anyways. I mean, it didn't work at all. So they all the bad things that's happened to the Browns over the years, that just culminates it. Stefanski might get fired off that alone if they don't, because Sanders had a very good game. That's his best game he's had in the NFL, no doubt about that. And the Browns easily could have won that game, but oh well. Cam Ward, really, it's Tony Pollard who ran the hell out of the ball that day. Was 161, 2 rushing touchdowns. He did well in a tank bowl. Just kind of skimming over the other games here. KC, they're 6-7. They officially now cannot win the AFC West. We're getting either the Chargers or we're getting the Broncos, and it might just be the Broncos. They won 10 in a row, for God's sake. They kicked the crap out of my team, the Raiders. I mean, it was close at halftime. And then once they took, once Geno went down, Kenny Pickett was our highlight of the damn year. So it's whatever. Still lost. As for Houston, we said it early because look, they stumbled to start the year. They didn't look good at all. We thought they were just washed at this point. But that defense, like we said with the college team, that defense, it got some kind of national recognition now on a big platform. So if Houston's offense can just get a little bit better, I think they have a good shot at going deep potentially in the playoffs when all things are said and done. Because they do have arguably the best defense in the league. I thought the Packers and Bears game was solid, 7-point win in that one, and Jordan Love and company pulled off the win and upset the Bears fans once again, because the Bears have been on a hot streak here in recent weeks. They've been looking really good. And the old adage of it used to be Aaron Rodgers was dominating the Bears, but that went away for a little bit. Now Jordan Love gets in on the fun. I thought the Rams just kicked the crap out of the Cardinals, as they should. Also, guys, I thought and I know Kyler went down. I thought the Cardinals were going to be at least competitive this year. I didn't think they'd be 3-10. I thought they'd be a little bit better in their division in the West. Keeping it in the West, the Seahawks beat the Falcons like a drum. But if you look at it, though, it was tied. I think it was tied. It was very close at halftime. But whatever was said in the second half of that, at halftime, Seattle woke up and Sam Darnold just kind of went ballistic. I know we'll talk a little bit more. Obviously, I know Chris is going to mention the Colts game when they lost to the Jaguars and Daniel Jones going out for the year. I will say this, though. In the NFC South, things are getting interesting. And I say that because the Saints were able to beat the Buccaneers by 4 points. I thought the Buccaneers were rolling for a while. They looked really good. But since Baker's kind of went down and he's still dealing with some injuries, that's hurt their team. So the South is still pretty open for now two teams, with Carolina who's still hanging on, who they were off this week. But so that will be interesting how that goes, coming towards the end of the season. The Steelers were able to get the win over the Ravens, and both teams were fighting for 500, basically. Lamar Jackson still doesn't look right. He might have rushed back from that injury. He's not looked good at all in recent weeks. So he's been a little bit rough. But big win for Aaron Rodgers and for Mike Tomlin and company. The Vikings, they beat up the Commanders, but I don't know. Jay Daniels looked awful. They didn't even get off the plane at that point. They got shut out against a bad Vikings team. It's not even like the Vikings are dominating this year. Also, game of the week, probably the Bills and Bengals. Just high score and everything you want. Joe Burrow, he did all he could. I feel 4 touchdowns. He threw for damn near 300 yards. But Jay, since basically we started this network, we've said you got to get some defensive help for Joe Burrow, or it ain't gonna work. And it's just been tough. But we got a Monday night game tonight as well. Should be a good matchup, I feel. The Eagles and Chargers, both teams are, for the I feel like if the Chargers can win this one, they have a good chance to maybe catapult the Broncos at some point with a few weeks left. They, you just got to keep riding that momentum with as hot as Denver's been. If they lose, I think that they'll sneak into a wild card. I think they're that good. And like Joe said, the Bengals, they beat themselves. I think for tonight, and I'll Joe, we'll give your thoughts on the rest of the games that happened yesterday. I'm kind of leaning towards the Eagles in this one, just a smidge, as they kind of try to move forward and just get more and more momentum out there in the North there, in the NFC North. But like I said, overall, pretty good week of games. Couple blowouts here and there, but couple of a lot of good storylines, after this week, and as we wrap it up here tonight. Jay, let's get your what are your thoughts? I know your guys played on Thursday. We already talked about that. But what were you checking out yesterday? What games or what kind of storylines caught your eye in yesterday's slate of games?
Yeah, I think probably the most one of the biggest things for me, like you said, was a couple of big things. Honestly, I guess let's start with the Titans and Browns.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I don't understand what Stefanski was thinking, but I did like how he said the press conference. Every call is my call. I call all the plays. Now he wasn't stepping down from it. He wasn't deflecting it. He was, hey, it's all on me. Okay, Stefanski, you're damn right. It is on you as head coach. And yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that's the one that gets him fired ultimately, or something. I mean, something's gonna come out of that at some point.
Is what the Colts are kind of doing the last couple of years. They were ass.
I think so too. But that was such a just bad play call.
And then Danny Dimes comes in here.
You take him out. You don't really give a reason as to why. I guess they'll say play past or whatever.
We're staying late. We're
that
getting
wasn't it for me.
Extra work. Like the Colts,
like they could have won that one, but won the case.
Bye weeks,
I think that also a game I didn't mention because whatever.
Leg, I think. And then his right.
Jay, do you hear that?
He tears his.
Do you hear that?
That's a one.
I hear McAfee.
Guy who is certainly
having
his best season.
What's he yelling about?
The Colts are having their best season.
No, I'm just trying to figure out how.
Was an absolute bumper. So I agree with
AJ. Like that's what it is. I was like, why am I hearing this? I'm sorry, man. That's totally my fault.
And hopefully, for the long haul because his contract is
up. I don't know how to get rid of that.
He was awesome for our team.
I don't know where that came from.
Just close your phone.
We've
But,
lost to Jacksonville like 9 straight years down at
again, we didn't mention, because I mean, there's
They
not
are
really any repercussions or anything to it.
a problem.
Was the
for us down
Dolphins
there.
and them getting whatever the
Even
Jets
when their
locking
team
the
is
Jets
ass.
officially out of the
Yeah.
playoffs. I think for the Jets, this is now their
They'll beat
15th
us
consecutive
down there.
losing
I don't
season.
know if it's the stadium. I don't know if it's the vibes.
My
I don't know
God,
if it's
just
their fans
what
showing
an
up
awful,
and getting
awful
after the
team.
Colts more so than any other
And
game. But they have.
I will ask you, Jay, do you think that Mike McDaniel is going to stick around? Because the Bills have been on a pretty, or excuse me, the Dolphins been on a pretty good run here as of late. Getting a couple of wins, and look, I get their. They're not going to make the playoffs. Probably not going to. Obviously, not going to win
donors
the East and how good the Pats have
supporting
played.
kids and families facing.
But do you think that might have saved his job?
Share the love
Just
event.
if they keep building momentum, if they can finish 500 or close to it. Do you think they stick around with them in Miami?
Oh man,
What do you think of when you
McDaniels
hear
and
the MVP
company?
talk?
Yeah, I think they already have. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. Do you I mean, I think.
I also know that
I don't
whoever
think
gets
they'll
that
fire
award,
him
it's
if
an
they keep playing the way
unbelievable
they
team
have.
accomplishment.
No. At this point, I think McDaniels is going to get fired. They would have already fired him. The fact that they haven't fired him, and actually, the fact that Miami's actually winning, even though they're not the best teams out there, I think that speaks volumes. They're not going to move on from him. I think they're going to move on from him. They would have already done so by
I
now.
have a great respect for all the guys that play this game now.
Yeah, I
That
think
played it
it's
before me.
going to be a good
I'm
one.
an NFL
I think that
fan.
they
I'm
would
in
have
awe of
fired
a
him
lot
if that
of
was the
people
case,
that,
but
do what we do.
it is what it is. But yeah, we
you
had a
know,
good
it's
slate of
humbling,
games, I
and I do
feel,
appreciate it.
overall,
Do you
and
feel
we'll
like
wrap
you're
it up
playing
here
your best
tonight.
football?
Monday Night Football once again.
I
It's
feel
going
like
to
I'm
be
playing pretty darn good football.
the
that's for
Philadelphia
sure.
Eagles
You
going
know,
on the road out to
and it's
Inglewood,
just
taking
because
on
of
these
guys around me, the work we're putting in, the group
the
we
Los
have.
Angeles Chargers out there in
I'm
Inglewood for
having more
SoFi
fun than
Stadium.
I've
It's going to be a good
had in a
matchup.
long
We'll
time
see
playing this game,
how it goes.
and
We got
that's something to be said.
just say,
at
I
this-
can't
at this
understand
age,
nothing.
With this many
Hearing too
grays in
many
my beard,
voices.
still having a good time.
And that, that's just how it is sometimes. But we'll bring
Okay,
Jay
no,
back
no.
here. Hold on. We don't get any video for him. We got
Okay.
audio, I believe.
Okay, much better now. Now I don't know what I was hearing, but I can't.
Now
hear
I can't.
Pat
Now I
McAfee.
can't. Now we can't see. Now you're just a black screen. But
I am.
Hey, now we go. There we go here, Jay. Well, you know what? I feel like this is time. Let's just get our final thoughts and wrap it up, Jay. It's a Monday. You know what I mean? I think there's a black cat
Man, it is
passed
so
by.
weird today.
I don't know what it is, but let's just get your final thoughts and get out of here.
Yeah, sorry about that, Joe. That was on my end. Somehow there was a video of McAfee playing, and I couldn't figure out where it was coming from. I think I got it figured out now, but my apologies. The only thing I wanted to say about this was, number one, Jay Daniels, if they even think about bringing you back, just tell them hell no. You didn't mess up that damn elbow twice now. Twice. Let it go. Live to play another year, because this is not your year. Your team's not going anywhere. McLaurin's not coming back anytime soon. You just lost Zach Ertz, probably forever. I think that dude's ACL 2 years from now. Maybe you see him back. I think Ertz is done. I think that was his send off to the NFL. But with that being said, then you look at New York real quick, and Danny Dimes and whatnot. And Danny, now he's got a fractured fibula on one leg, Achilles tear on the other. What do you do with this guy? I mean, Indiana, and Glenn, I wasn't trying to be rude to you the other day, man, but it just blows my mind. Every damn franchise has run into some sort of injury issue that has kept them from getting to the ultimate success. And I hope it doesn't happen to Indiana. I hope Indiana goes health-free and good to go, because that really is the last damn franchise standing without a significant injury.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes, but we'll wait until we get Chris Toke. We didn't get their thoughts on it today, so we'll wait till tomorrow to get their, because I think they're going to officially diagnose him with everything today. I think he'll should be going under surgery, but yeah, it don't look good. Joe also said that the Colts are done.
I mean, they really are kind of done at this point.
And I mean, yesterday was kind of a key example. Obviously, they played the Jaguars as well, which is a divisional opponent, and now the Jaguars have jumped them in the division, and I don't know if Riley Leonard is going to be the option. What they're going to need, Jay, is they're going to need a good, their O-line is going to have to stay healthy. Jonathan Taylor's going to have to kick it into another gear if they want a chance, at least for offense production, because Daniel Jones has had a really good year. He threw for over 3,000 yards, nearly 20 touchdowns. So it's going to be hard to duplicate that as we start to end the year, as we're kind of on the back half of the season. Other just sports news here that I saw. They announced yesterday for the baseball eras committee that Jeff Kent will be going into the Hall of Fame. He's got the most home runs by a second baseman at 351. Some notable names that didn't get in. Obviously, the big ones, of course, with Schilling, with Clemens, with Bonds. But one also I feel that hurts me. I know it's going to hurt, a lot of the. I know it's going to hurt you, Jay. Dale Murphy still not getting in, and
Right.
Dale Murphy's still a hell of a ball player. Did everything he could, but still just a couple of votes shy. As for Jeff Kent, I mean, hey, go. I mean, I feel that he had a good career, and obviously the committee thought so as well, and he'll be, enshrined into Cooperstown here in the very near future. So, good for him to finally get that honor a little bit later after his career is over. But that's how it goes for some of these guys. That it takes just a little bit longer to finally get where you want to go at the end of the day. But Jay, well, with that, I think we'll go ahead and wrap up our show here today. We appreciate everyone for checking in, for watching our show, for staying with us through our technical difficulties on this Monday. Like I said, it is a Monday, so bear with us here. If you haven't done any Christmas shopping, you got to start on that soon because we got 23 days or something like that. 20, not even. We got like 17 days until Christmas. So if you ain't got your shopping done, Jay, it's time to start. Amazon, they're still getting the shipping out there, so you still got a little bit of time before you have to go on the hustle and bustle, going to the mall or whatnot. So we got time for that. But for Jay McLovin, for of course Chris and Tony Gonzalez, who hopped on the show, been your host and producer, Logan Landers. Once again, check out our content: Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, TikTok. Best way to find all those is in our link tree in the description, of course, of our channel on their afternoon show, as well as for all the other networks here, all the other shows on our network, on the Elite Sports and Entertainment. So once again, Jay McLovin, Logan Landers. Also in our comments, thank you, Joe, as well, for chiming in, being our loyal listener and helping us out. And he also said Chicago Bears went from the number 1 seed to the 7th seed. Yeah, they've really dropped with that. But we'll talk more about all that. Of course, recap of Monday Night Football and all the other insanity that goes on in the sports world. So, see you guys again tomorrow on the afternoon show. Enjoy the rest.